In this video, I'll be counting down the top 10 all-time Great League Pokemon in Pokémon GO. Out of the 3 primary leagues within the Go Battle League, the Great League is by far the most competitive, yet also the most accessible. The number of Pokemon that you can use in this league are really high, but there are always going to be a handful that stick out among the rest. One thing to keep in mind is that the meta is always shifting, as Niantic introduces new Pokemon and changes up current moves, but a few Pokemon will always be reliably top tier. These are the specific Pokemon that I will be talking about. Every single one of the Pokemon on this list are the ones that will almost always be top tier, regardless of what the meta currently is. Now before we continue, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell so that you can get more list videos like this one. Okay, so with that said, let's get started with the list. Alright, so the first Pokemon on this list is an absolute terror for anyone that has to face it. It is, of course, going to be Bastiodon. Now this Pokemon is infamous for being practically unkillable. It has an insane amount of defensive stats that allows it to outlast some of the hardest hitting opponents, and it has some very powerful charge attacks with it. One of the core strengths of Bastiodon is just how much of an anchor it can be for your team. Out of all the Pokemon on this list, it probably has the most bulk. You can use it to stall out the battle, or use it to chip away at your opponent's strongest Pokemon so that you can finish them out with the rest of your team. The one caveat with Bastiodon is that it is not exactly freely accessible. Shieldon, which evolves into Bastiodon, only appears in very specific in-game events throughout the year, so getting a Bastiodon for the Great League might take you some time. But if you happen to get yourself this Pokemon and you have solid PvP IVs, you should be good to go for several of your battles afterward. Now the next Pokemon is going to be way more accessible, yet also just as powerful. It is going to be the Dragon and Flying type Pokemon Altaria. Some of the most seasoned battlers will be familiar with this Pokemon. It has incredible bulk and a solid offense as well. The one really nice thing about Altaria is that it has very few weaknesses, yet a plethora of different resistances. Only a small number of Pokemon will be able to handle it in a one-on-one battle. Unfortunately for Altaria, some of those few who are really strong against it are commonly used in the higher ranks, so this Pokemon does eventually fall off. However, if you want to cheese your way through the earlier ranks, then Altaria is a great Pokemon to use. Now another flying type Pokemon comes next on this list. It is arguably stronger than Altaria, but it suffers some of the same problems. It is, of course, none other than Skarmory. This flying and steel type Pokemon has many of the same advantages as Altaria. It is quite bulky with decent defense stats, yet it has a ton of offensive capabilities with its stellar moveset. It is also very resistant to a ton of different types, thanks to its very unique steel and flying type combination. However, also like Altaria, it is pretty vulnerable to a handful of certain Pokemon. While it could be a clincher against most Pokemon, it could get caught out just as easily. Fire types, rock types, and electric types will do really well against Skarmory. Yet in spite of this, Skarmory is still extremely reliable, as it can deal with some of the hardest to deal with Pokemon, many of which will come later on this list. It also has one of the strongest flying type charge attacks in the game in Brave Bird, making it an absolute threat against pretty much every Pokemon, even those who are strong against it. So the next Pokemon on this list is actually one that is weak against Skarmory, yet it by itself can be an absolute powerhouse in the Great League. Coming in at number 7 is going to be none other than Scrafty. This dark and fighting type Pokemon is an absolute menace, especially in the higher ranks. Offensively, it is a high pressure Pokemon with a plethora of great utilities that will chip away your opponent's health. Defensively, it has a decent amount of bulk with a few key resistances. One of the key strengths of this Pokemon is that it can easily fit into most team compositions. You can use Scrafty to round out any good team, as it can be one of your best closers in the game. If you can manage to bait out both of your opponent's shields, you could then use Scrafty to close out the match, as it can very easily 2v1 most Pokemon. Finally, it has a very powerful move combo of Power Up Punch and Foul Play. You can use Power Up Punch to fake out your opponents into using shields, or you can use it to buff up your Scrafty for a very hard hitting foul play. There's just so many possibilities with this Pokemon, and you will definitely want to consider using it on your team. This leads me to another offensive powerhouse, and it is Trevenant. No other Pokemon made such a huge meta shift upon its arrival. Trevenant is probably the one Great League Pokemon that could disrupt so many players. It is a strong counter to most of the top meta Pokemon, and it can be a very solid choice in just about any role. You can use it as a lead, a safe switch, or a closer. It really doesn't matter, it will be good in any way. What's really scary about this Pokemon is how much damage it can deal. It comes with the very powerful fast attack Shadow Claw, which generates a ton of energy while also dealing an insane amount of damage per second, and Shadow Ball, which is one of the hardest hitting ghost type attacks in the game. Pair that up with Seed Bomb, a great type coverage move that can spam for maximum damage, and you got yourself one of the biggest threats in the Go Battle League. Next up, let's talk about a Pokemon that is a Great League classic. Coming in at number 5, we have Medicham. This Pokemon actually has an interesting history. Before you were able to power up a Pokemon to level 50, Medicham was a fairly decent Great League Pokemon when you had a 100% IV. However, you can actually min-max it even further by leveling it up to level 50 with lower IVs. Once this was something players could do, Medicham went from decent to top tier. This Pokemon also has a very unique type combination of Fighting and Psychic, making it one of the most versatile Pokemon in the Great League. You can use it to bait out shields or to put pressure on your opponents with some hard-hitting moves. Overall, this is a very good Pokemon to use, and it should take you really far in the rankings. It can also very handedly deal with Bastiodon, which, as I said earlier in this video, is extremely difficult to counter. Okay, so the next Pokemon on this list is one that most players would have ranked much higher. It is, of course, going to be the legendary Pokemon Registeel. What more can be said about this Pokemon? It is an absolute unit when it comes to the Go Battle League. On top of being extremely tanky, it has immense offensive power with its plethora of hard-hitting charge attacks. Of course, the one caveat is that this Pokemon lacks fast move damage pressure, as its best fast move is the non-damage dealing move Lock On. Now the reason why you would go with this move is of course the insane amount of energy that it generates, which allows you to unleash more charge attacks. This factor makes Registeel one of the best Great League Pokemon in the game. You can also count on this Pokemon being future-proof as well. Very few Pokemon will come along that will do what Registeel does, and even fewer will be able to counter it. The issue with this Pokemon is its availability, as it is extremely difficult to get one with the right IVs, as you will likely have to do several special trades. But if you manage to pull off getting a Registeel with decent PvP IVs, you will pretty much be set for life. Alright, next let's move on to a Pokemon that is an all-time classic. Coming in at number 3, it is none other than Azumarill. For most of the Pokemon that I listed so far in this video, Azumarill is probably the one that you should consider as among the best of the best. It is extremely tanky, has great offensive pressure, and it has amazing type coverage. Azumarill is, and has always been, the complete package. It is one that you will very frequently come across in the Great League, especially since it is fairly easy to get. Even though its rankings tend to go up or down depending on the current meta, it is still a good choice to have since it is so user-friendly. You can simply give it Bubble as its fast move and cater the charge attacks to counter whatever the meta Pokemon are at the time. You really can't go wrong using this Pokemon. There's a reason why it is considered timeless. Okay, now we have reached the top 2 Great League Pokemon on this list. The runner-up will most certainly run chills down your veins. It is going to be none other than Walrein. Now this Pokemon is extremely powerful. Whether you are using the Shadow version or the regular version, you will most certainly find success using this Pokemon. On top of being extremely powerful from an offensive point of view, it is also extremely tanky with a very favorable type combination of water and ice. There are very few Pokemon that can handle Walrein. Even for the Pokemon that can counter it, it is still an absolute threat. There's just so much power behind its Community Day move Icicle Spear that this Pokemon will always drive the momentum of the battle. It can be a reliable safe switch or closer, but you can throw off your opponents by having it as an opener as well. There's just so much that makes this Pokemon extremely powerful for the Go Battle League. If you give it Powder Snow as its fast attack, you will be able to generate energy at a very high rate, which will allow you to unleash several charge attacks. Thus, you will create so much pressure for your opponents that they will likely fold under the pressure unless they have a Walrein themselves. Needless to say, this is going to be one of the best Pokemon in the Great League for years to come, unless of course they nerf Icicle Spear, which may happen considering just how dominant this one Pokemon has been. Okay, now before we get to our number one all-time Great League Pokemon, we need to go over some honorable mentions. Since there are just so many Great League Pokemon that you could use, naturally, most of them will not make this list. The first of these honorable mentions is going to be the mythical Pokemon Defense Form Deoxys. This Pokemon is really versatile. Don't let the name fool you, as Defense Form Deoxys has very strong offensive capabilities on top of being tanky. If you're not running specific counters to this Pokemon, it will be really difficult for you to handle. Thus, we can't have a list like this without at least mentioning this Pokemon. Now another honorable mention has to go to the Water and Ground type Pokemon Whiscash. This Pokemon can be a sleeper hit within the Great League. Depending on what Pokemon are meta, you could use Whiscash to completely melt down your opponents. There are many times where players were not expecting this Pokemon in the back. Thus, you can use it to counter what many opponents believe is a safe switch. You really can't go wrong using this Pokemon on a whim. Finally, the last honorable mention that I want to talk about is going to be Araquanid. This is a recent addition to Pokémon GO, and it certainly has a lot of potential within the Great League. On top of being extremely tanky with some of the most annoying moves in its arsenal, it has probably one of the most unique type combinations of Bug and Water. Very few players will know how to deal with Araquanid, and they will likely not bring the specific counters to it. Okay, now we finally get to the number one all-time Great League Pokemon. Some of you will not be surprised by this, but maybe others will raise an eyebrow. The top Pokemon you should go for if you want to get ahead in the Great League is going to be none other than Galarian Stunfisk. Here is the quintessential overpowered Pokemon for the Great League. It is tanky, has an amazing unmatched moveset, great type coverage, and a ton of shield pressure. This Pokemon is the all-around best. You can use it for pretty much any situation, and it can be a reliable anchor where you could build your team around. Everything about this Pokemon is insane when it comes to the Great League. You can really think of it as a cheat code for getting really far in the Go Battle League rankings. Even against hard counters, it can still perform high enough where your opponents will find it difficult taking it down. I have to say, a vast majority of my success in the Go Battle League can be attributed to this one Pokemon. It is just that good. Probably the most ideal moveset is going to be Mudshot as its fast attack, with Rock Slide and Earthquake as its charge attacks. Considering just how fast Mudshot generates energy, and with the immense pressure both Rock Slide and Earthquake will bring, this Pokemon is by far the absolute best you could use in the Great League, no matter what skill level you are currently at. You will not regret investing into getting one and powering it up to where it needs to be. Okay, so that will be the conclusion of this list video. Now, as I mentioned before, there's just so many awesome Pokemon that you could bring to the Great League, so naturally, many will not be included in a video like this. So let me know your thoughts. Is there a particular Pokemon that you use often that wasn't mentioned in this list? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I will catch you all later.